Interesting. Now, this brings us to SWOT analysis. This is the last complement in the pre-market research ethos that we are going to be talking about. And after this, as I said earlier, we'll be moving on to the market research architecture. But as of now, let's talk about the SWOT. Now, most of us would be conversant with what a SWOT analysis is all about, and I'll go for a visualization to help us understand better. Now, this is a visual representation of a SWOT analysis. Fine. As you can see for yourself, there are four quadrants out there: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is SWOT, SWOT. This is an acronym. Fine. Now, SWOTs are largely conducted to assess strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, strengths and weaknesses are internal complements, and threats and opportunities are external complements. Fine. So let me give you a brief understanding about these strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats vis-a-vis this particular company, TILS. Now, as I said, strengths, these are the internal attributes of the business or a project that give it an advantage over others. Like, the capability advantage, the strategic advantage, and stuff like that. Now, out here, if you just want to be listing two, I don't want to be making it too complicated at this point of time, because when this actually happened, it was a huge draft for the company. I mean, there were too many things which are listed out there. But for you to understand the gist of what it's really like, what needs to be mapped, here goes. So when it comes to strengths, it's obviously the top of the line product portfolio, the solutioning capability, and of course the impressive brand matrix. Now, TILS is a brand to reckon with. Its brand matrix is massive. It's huge. It's superb. Fine. And nobody doubts its capabilities when it comes to its competence or capability spectrum. So that's the quorum of strength for the company. And then when we talk about the weaknesses, these are the internal attributes of the business that place the business or project at a disadvantage in relation to others, which is the competition, of course. Fine. Now, out here, when we're talking about targeting Europe, we know it by now. I mean, it's almost a rote by now that it has an inconsequential market presence across Europe. And then there will be socio-economic and topographical limitations, which it's going to be contending with because it's a first-time player in this territory, which is the European business biosphere. Fine. So obviously there will be some challenges. It's not going to be a cakewalk. It's not going to be a walk in the park kind of scenario. There will be challenges to contend with. There will be variables to contend with. There will be obstacles and hurdles which will be cropping up at every other stage. But I think in most of the cases, they would have been mapped. But then, of course, you always have a surprise quotient, always ready to surprise you, so to say. Fine. So this would happen. And this is about the weaknesses part. And then when we move on to opportunities, these are external factors along with threats, right? Now, these are the external complements in the environment that the business or a project could exploit to its advantage. Now, these are the opportunities. We all know for a company like TILS, with the kind of a strength it has, on the manpower side, on the capability advantage side, on the strategic advantage side, on the infrastructural side, on the product portfolio side, on the brand matrix side, on the leadership side, and so many other factors, not to talk about revenue and profitability matrices and free cash flows and stuff. It could totally do a great job in this territory by encashing and exploiting these opportunities. But now we all know it's a target-rich environment. We've been talking about it. We've been harping about it for quite some time now. And then obviously there are lower talent, infrastructural, and logistics and supply chain management costs out there, especially if you're going to be talking South Europe, if you're going to be talking Eastern Europe, and that's where most of the recruitment is going to happen from in any case. So of course it's going to be a lowered talent acquisition cost, lowered logistics and supply chain management cost out there, which of course is going to be impacting the price elasticity of the solutions and the product that is going to be offering out there to various business biospheres on a countrywide, industry-wide, regional basis and stuff. Fine. So this is the opportunity matrix. And then when we talk about the threats, I mean, these are the external complements in the environment that could cause trouble. They're the troublemakers for this business, which is the TILS penetration exercise across European industries, right? Now, what do we have out there as threats? There's a long list, but I'm just listing two. One is the oversaturated competitive ethos. Too many companies out there in the competitive space offering similar or better or worse solutions. Not exactly better. I mean, some are at par. Most of them don't have the entire parity situations when it comes to the entire competence spectrum of this company. And then there is always this weaker environment threatening a consumer and a market meltdown. What happened to many European countries across the board, starting off with Greece and others. You had Spain, you had Portugal, and Britain is slipping down the lane pretty fast and stuff like that. So things are happening, things are in a flux, nothing is for sure, nothing is for certain, nothing has a fixation, everything is fluid out there. So these are constant threats. I mean, these are the kind of threats which throw up variables across the board almost on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, and this is a serious situation to contend with. So the company wanted to get a grip on these threats, and that's why this SWOT happened. Fine. This is exactly what this SWOT analysis is all about. Of course, when it happened for real, I mean, it was a much more comprehensive exercise than I'm trying to detail out here, because there are constraints of space and time for me to explain the entire scenario. But I intended this to be an exposition of the gist of this analysis. So I'm sure that you would have understood what exactly would have transpired while the mapping of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats happened in an actual SWOT. So I'm sure that you're confident about your capabilities to understand this scenario as of now, and you're totally in sync with this market research case study as of now. And we'll be picking up market research architecture after this. Thank you.